Hello everybody and welcome back to Adobe Illustrator for Cartographers. I'm Dr. Heath Robinson and I've got another topic in creating area symbology for you that has to do with using pattern swatches. I'm going to be creating a pattern swatch for a marsh. I drew this up here. Let me zoom in. You may have seen this guy wandering around. I've got this pattern right here, which is a little bit of the foliage symbol that's pretty commonly used on maps to indicate a marsh or a bog or something like that. Right now it's black. Let me go back and turn that a darker green. A little bit darker to show up on the particular color green that I've got for the background. Okay, so there, now I've got my little sprig of foliage or whatever, and I just drew that with some lines. I free-handed that in. And if I wanted to put in a marsh or a bog up here, well, I mean, certainly I could come in through here and I could freehand it all. I could copy all of these and start to put them in just like I want them to be, but probably I don't want to do that. It'd be much, much easier for me to create a pattern swatch that will fill all of that in for me. So my typical way of going about this is to create a 1 by 1 inch square, so I know that it will tile very well. If you're using the metric system or some other thing, you can use a different size. All that matters is that it's a perfect square so that you know that the pattern's going to repeat very easily. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to build in the way that I would like the marsh to look. You could be regular with this, you could be real irregular with this. You may have to play around a couple times, I probably will, to see how it actually looks and how it's going to look when it's all patterned out. If you don't get pretty close to the edge here, with at least some of them, it's going to look a little bit strange because there'll be this gap of this border that's going to be created around here, and I don't want that. Let me move that one up there and put this one down here. And then also, if you've seen this symbol, it's got some little straight lines in here. Well, I can't move it. There we go. Sort of make it look a little bit more like water. You can get real complicated with this. This is the advantage, again, of using one of these pattern brushes, that if you've got a particularly complicated pattern that you want, you don't have to keep drawing it over and over again. Go ahead and get your pattern swatch set up and then replicate it as many times as you need to have it replicated. I think I might need one more of these down here. Maybe that looks good, maybe it won't, we'll just see. I'm going to do the same thing by turning off the stroke of my square, grouping all of that together, and then putting it over here. Now if I've got, here's the shape, we'll see if that looks any good. We'll get the idea across anyway. There we go. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now there is my marsh. That looks pretty good. I'm actually really happy with that. A real organic look, replicating that pattern, and a very common and classic cartographic representation for a bog or a marsh. Using a swatch like this will also make it very easy to change up a very small thing with this particular pattern, because if you've looked at the USGS topographic maps, you'll notice they have this particular pattern for bog and marsh and submerged marsh, and there are a couple of different options there. If you just have it on the green, then maybe it's a swamp, but I could take this. I'll just make another one over here. Ungroup. But then go ahead and give it a fill. Maybe it needs a blue color, like a really light blue color back behind it. Still have no stroke on that box. This time I just filled it in with a color. I'm going to group it, and then I'm going to drag it over here. And so maybe this is my symbol for a submerged marsh or a bog or something. Maybe that's just a swamp. And here's my submerged swamp, or whatever. So there you go, two very quick ways to produce intricate patterns like this in your cartography. I really like this one up here because it doesn't have any kind of border. A swamp wouldn't really have a border anyway. Swamps have sort of vague boundaries, so maybe not having a line around that's a good idea. This one looks like it might need it a little bit. Maybe I would come up with a specific color to go around something like that and bump it up. Maybe that's too much. Maybe just I like that. Maybe just a one-point stroke. Let me also show you something that happened really quickly. What if you want to adjust this? Maybe it's not quite right, but as you can see, I don't have that on my artboard anymore because I deleted it. If I just drag out, well, now I get that tile back, and I could go in there and I could edit it and I could make the changes that I want to make if I need to. So there's no reason that you necessarily have to keep around that original tile that you drew. Once you have drawn the tile and saved it into your swatches, you can go ahead and delete it if you don't need it off your artboard. You can always get back to any particular pattern swatch like that and adjust it and make corrections to it as you need to. Well, alright, I hope this has been inspiring to you. I hope you've got some great ideas for some different area symbols that you want to try out and draw. My map's looking a bit boring. Hopefully you have done a lot more than I have. I still just have my basic shapes in there. Well, I got my roads and a river turned off and so forth. But I hope you're taking this opportunity to really practice with all of your brushes, practice with your point symbols, practice with your area symbols, and are really beginning to construct a really nice map. So go ahead and practice with this, and when you're ready, I'll see you in the next lesson.